Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All2ReelToo. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me via Zoom is
Matthew Patriarchy Patriot. It's an inside joke. You'll get it in a second.
So, yes, my patriotic friends, we are covering a great American film. Because it's in the title.
Yeah.
It's American Pie presents Girls Rule. Girls Rules. Sorry. Girls Rules. Yeah.
Oh, I always thought it said Girls Rule. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because, what we all need in these trying times, which this was released on October 6, 2020, is another American Pie film, because there's not enough American Pie films.
Especially not enough direct-to-video ones.
No. Please, no. Definitely not enough.
This is the second one we've covered on our podcast. You may remember our previous episode where we covered American Pie Presents Bandcamp.
I still stand by that film.
It actually wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't. Very, very problematic and possibly criminal, and very
definitely criminal. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, not the movie itself, but the actions of the characters within
the actions of the character. Yeah. He definitely would have went to jail for that. But yeah. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure that most of the American Pie movies have some form of delinquency and bad crimes of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm talking so subdued.
Because you're like a sophisticated, person.
If I were a sub dude, would that be like if I'm a submissive dude?
I don't know.
Like the principal in this film.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where you're going with that. I thought you meant like I was thinking sub sandwich because I'm hungry, so that's what I was thinking.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe that's what they should call instead of a sandwich artist. The people at Subway should be called sub dudes.
Sub dudes. The hell? Person shows up with a whip. I want the BMT on. I lost the joke.
It got away from you.
The cheddar. It's been like a year since I've been to Subway. The cheddar, blah blah, Italian urban cheddar. There you go, bread.
Yeah, I mean it's understandable. It's 2020, and we really can't go to a lot of those places anymore. Yeah, exactly. So.
Plus, my Subway freaking closed down because the economy's doing so great that it's been in the past 30 years, and that restaurant's been in my neighborhood for the past 30 years, and it closed down 2 weeks ago. Anyway, and then also the Ralphie's closed down across the street. And that's been there for about 20 years. Okay, cool. Anyway, yeah, I'm not going to get into that, but
America, fuck yeah. Anyways, so this movie.
Yeah. Now I'm hungry for a sub sandwich, god damn it.
Me too. I really want a pizza sub.
Oh well.
Yeah. Too bad there's not really a Subway within walking distance of my apartment.
Or even driving distance, really.
Oh, there's one decently within driving distance. Probably about a 5 or 10 minute drive, but I don't have a car, folks, so I would have to walk.
It's good exercise.
American Pie, Maybe we should talk about it. Anyways, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
American Pie presents Girls Rules. That's hard to say.
It is. Girls Rules. Yeah, it's kind of a weird. Yeah.
So, this movie was directed by Mike Elliott. Mike Elliott has also directed he's a producer as well. He's produced a bunch of stuff. He produced Bulletproof 2, which we've covered on this podcast. He also produced How High 2.
Oh my God.
Granddaddy Daycare, which we covered on this podcast.
Yeah.
Death Race 4.
Okay.
Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell. Woody Woodpecker. Bigger, Fatter, Liar, which we covered on this
I was
podcast.
going to say, his name sounded familiar to me, like Mike Elliott.
He's the producer of a bunch of direct-to-video sequels, it looks like.
Okay.
And some Rob Zombie movies and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, he produced Halloween 2. But he also produced, War Games, The Dead Code, which is a direct-to-video sequel. Smokin' Aces 2, which is a direct-to-video sequel. Death Race 2. Blue Crush 2. Little Rascals Save the Day. All direct-to-video sequels. Beethoven's Fifth.
Did we? I don't think we did that one, did we?
No, we did the fourth, I think.
Oh, okay. It was Judge Reinhold.
Yeah. He produced the TV series The New Addams Family, which was basically a sequel. And the TV movie Addams Family Reunion, which I want to cover for this podcast someday.
Addams Family. I think I saw that.
Yeah, it's got Tim Curry in it. Yeah, but he's also he also produced Richie Rich's Christmas Wish. He's produced a hell of a lot of movies and TV shows. Good for him.
Yeah, good.
But this one he directed. He also directed a movie called November Rule. He directed The Scorpion King 4, Quest for Power. A Warden's Ransom. Blue Crush 2. And Beethoven's Big Break. Okay, so that's our director, folks.
Yeah.
More power to him.
Yeah,
Plus, he's a big dude with a bunch of tattoos that kind of scares me, so...
Okay.
I'm only going to say good things about him.
Yeah.
For that reason. No. The movie, it's the fifth installment of the direct-to-video sequels. It was written by Blaine Weaver and David H. Steinberg. Based on the characters created by Adam Hers for the first movie, even though none of those characters really appear in it, but a relative of one of them does. Not sure how she's related, but she is. Okay, so our cast. We have Madison Pettis as Annie. You may remember Madison from the movie The Game Plan with The Rock when she was a little girl. Made me feel old when I realized that she was in that movie. All right, the character of Stephanie Stifler in this movie was played by Lizze Broadway.
Are you recording, though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It doesn't say record on my end, so I was wondering.
Oh. Hold on a second, then. Okay, yeah, the cast also included Lizze Broadway as Stephanie Stifler. Lizzie is from our hometown of Toledo, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got that going for her.
Yeah.
And we also had Piper Curda as Kayla, Natasha Behnam as Michelle, Darren Barnet as Grant, Zachary Gordon as Emmett, Cameron Ingalls as Tim, Christian Valderrama as Oliver, Zane Emery as Jason, Ed Quinn as Kevin, Sara Rue as Ellen, Barry Bostwick as Peepaw, and Danny Trejo as Mr. Garcia the janitor.
Yep.
So a star-studded cast here.
Mm-hmm. Hey, anything with Danny Trejo fixes any movie that or show, no matter what's going on in it. So
he was very underutilized in this movie, though.
Yeah, he wasn't in a lot, but yeah, his face pops up. You're like, oh boy, like. I
think he literally has like one or two lines in the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, I still think of him as Breacher from The Flash, mainly because that's what I like him the most in is that character.
I think of him as Mr. Diaz in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah,
he plays Rose's dad on there. Yeah.
And you can't forget Granddaddy Daycare, which is a classic. I mean,
yes, I actually enjoyed that movie. So
I did too. I just play around.
Yeah. So the development of this film, just give a little bit of background here. This is from the Wikipedia. .org. Mm-hmm. After the success of American Pie Presents The Book of Love, written by David H. Steinberg, he was hired to write the next movie in the series, entitled American Pie Presents East Great Falls, centered around 4 male students at East Great Falls High School, who all fall in love with the same female student. Universal Studios hired new writers to rewrite the script and flip the genders of all the characters in 2017. Mm-hmm. So basically, the script was originally written as a male-centered film, and then they flipped it to a female-centered film.
And it wasn't supposed to be an American Pie film either. It was just supposed to be like a regular.
Oh no, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be American Pie Presents East Great Falls.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Which is the name of the high school. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, I thought it was a good idea to kind of flip it a little bit, because it's like, how many American Pie movies do you really need where that's like the main thing? I mean, there's like 18 of these movies. Like at this point, it's like, it'd be interesting to kind of have it flipped a little bit not so much like to force it to make it almost too ridiculous. Like, oh, you get it, but like still just. It's nice to see like a different type of movie, because I've seen all these movies, not every single one of them, a lot of them, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little tired of this trope.
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Okay,
that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Even the Naked Mile, I could not get through the Naked Mile. I watched half of it. I'm like, I can't.
I watched it.
Well, okay.
I watched it.
Okay.
All. Yeah. I watched the whole thing. That was a good day, Matt.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
I remember, sometimes there's those moments in your life where you just remember where you are, what you were wearing, the smell in the air, all of that good stuff. Like the day you graduate from high school, or the first date with your first true love.
Or a car accident, because those are associated with trauma, mainly. Would you remember all the details? Yeah, so...
Yes. And speaking of trauma, then you remember the time you saw American Pie Presents The Naked Mile.
Yeah.
You remember sitting there in your bedroom really late at night and you can't think of anything to watch, and you go onto Netflix and there's that movie suggested to you for some reason. Because their algorithms suck, and sometimes it's like, hey, you watched Silence of the Lambs, so you might like American Pie Presents The Naked Mile.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. So then you watch it just because you can't think of anything else to watch and you're half asleep. You know? And there's the smell in the air of desperation for something good to watch. Oh, good times, good times. So I had another experience kind of like that, where I got onto Netflix recently and saw, hey, it's 2020 and they released another American Pie movie. And I co-host a podcast where we tend to watch direct-to-video sequels. So I was like, hey, someday I'm going to have to watch this. And that day came, Matt. It came and it went.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're here to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I watched it 3 times, so for no reason at all. And
yes. I do not get that. But
I don't know.
More power to you. There's been several movies in my life that I've watched 3 times, you know?
Yeah.
Or more, like Citizen Kane and the original American Pie.
Yeah. So you want to get into this pie? Ugh, and
let's cut ourselves a slice here. Anyways, so the plot of this movie is basically the plot for the first movie, kinda, but reversed.
Yeah.
Sexually. In a way. So at the beginning, what happens here, Matt? I'll let you kind of guide us through, because you've seen it 3 times.
Yes. Yes. So it's a little bit different, not just because the genders are swapped, but because all of her friends have already had sex before, so it's not like a competition to see who can have sex by graduation or anything like that. It's they come up with a different, not really a competition, but like whatever, a different type of thing. And Annie, she's the character that's a virgin, and she was trying to, have sex for the first time with her boyfriend the night before he goes off to college. So she's like, he was like a year older than she was, so she's still going to be in high school. And, predictably everything goes wrong. There's, all kinds of hijinks and, all the weird stuff happens. The guy's mom is already kind of suspicious of her, doesn't really like her. And, so she pretends to leave, and then she goes to her car, but then she puts on like a raincoat because she's just wearing like underwear and stuff underneath it. So she tries to like scale the rooftop and all that kind of stuff to get inside his bedroom. Meanwhile, the guy's mom is baking a cake, to surprise him, the night before he goes off to college. His dad is smoking pot out of a bong in like the den or something like that. I don't know. And then she's gonna perform fellatio on him, but she's, I'm using a fancy word here because I don't like to be vulgar, whatever. So she's gonna perform the act on him, but she's got like this like thing in her mouth. I don't know what it is exactly, but something.
It's what they call a dental dam.
Okay.
It's basically like a condom for your mouth, so you don't get.
Okay, so she's got that on to perform the act, and of course that's when parents march upstairs to surprise him with this cake. Also, they did like a video chat with his grandparents because they want to surprise him. So then, they're on the video call, and then they open the door and they see what's going on. And he just like runs up and like slams the door and then knocks the cake all, into his parents' faces and stuff. And then, he tells his girlfriend, "You gotta go. I love you, but you gotta get out of here." So then she runs out, and then he opens the door and the cake's all splattered on his parents' faces on the computer. And she's like, "Your Peepaw and Meemaw just saw your penis," or whatever. And then it's like shoots into the next scene, da, 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 American Pie, whatever type of thing. And that's kind of where it then picks off, where they're kind of making fun of Annie for, screwing up so badly, trying to have sex for the first time. And they're at some kind of like beach party or something like that. Oh, plus two. Also, no, I skipped. So like it does like an intro for each of the main characters. So like that's her first intro, and then it goes into like all the like things go. So like Stephanie Stifler, I actually really like this one a lot. So like the principal of the high school is like a really pervy dude who like hits on the female students, which is like illegal, even if they are of age, because you're in like a position of authority, you can't do that. But he was also hitting on the underage students as well. So she pretended to be like a dominatrix type of thing to like get him like in his underwear and stuff and handcuffs. And she had like a whipping sound like on her phone, like an app. So he thought that she had a whip, and he's like whoosh, making all these stupid sounds and crap like that. Fucking idiot. And she's like, "You better retire, or I'm gonna show everyone this video. I don't want you fucking up my senior year with all of your pervy ways of hitting on all the female students."
Because he's a he's a sub dude.
He's a sub dude, exactly. He's gonna be a substitute teacher soon, but well, maybe not even that. But because that takes qualifications too. But and having that on your record might not be a great. Who knows though? I don't know. Well, never mind. It's not Donald Trump's America anymore, so I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole other subject. But
who knows? By the time this was released, it could be anybody's America.
Yeah, it could be at this point. Yeah, who knows what goes on? What will happen in the next 3-5 weeks? Anyway, and then it's revealed that she is Stephanie Stifler. So like, oh, okay, we got the Stifler in the movie. Every American Pie movie's got to have a Stifler. That's the rule. Has to have a Stifler. And I'm not even making it up. That's literally a rule in the American Pie franchise. The other guys,
at least one Stifler, sometimes two.
Yeah, at least a Stifler in the family. Doesn't have to be the main Stifler, because who knows? Because you got cousins, like in band camp. I think it was his younger brother.
I'm actually trying to remember if there was a Stifler in Book of. I think there. I don't know.
There was. It was
Book of Love.
I think there was.
I'll have to go back and watch that one again sometime because I love watching American Pie movies over.
Naked Mile, I know, has Stifler. He was like in the dorm of the fraternity. Well, yeah.
There was two. There was two of them in. There was two of them in Naked Mile and the one before it.
And it's interesting because the Stiflers are different in each movie. They're not all like stupid like the main one was in the first American Pie movies.
Yeah.
So like in Naked Mile, like the guy who's like in the fraternity, he's kind of like a cool guy. He's got all together type of thing. He's not like a kind of like a just douchebag like in the first American Pie movies with what's his name? Come on, like I forgot his name.
Sean William Scott.
Yeah, come on, Sean. Really? How am I forgetting that name? Yeah, he wasn't like a douchebag like that character was, and Stephanie Stifler, she's probably a cousin, I guess, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't really explain the relation.
They didn't say. So she, blackmails, her pervy high school principal to force him to go into early retirement. So that was kind of cool. That's kind of set it up for me. I'm thinking like this is gonna be a kind of a cool movie. I mean, that's like an alpha move right there. I mean, she literally forces this guy into early retirement. Like that's fucking awesome. That didn't really pan out that well. But anyway, so And then they go into the other character is Kayla, and she's like really insecure person. Like she's always like trying to trick her boyfriend into like telling her that she's amazing and stuff, but she's always, insecure. Like, well, am I as good as this person? Blah blah blah, and and who's this person on your phone and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, my cousin, and stuff like that. And so he's like the over attentive boyfriend that is too nice to her, which then makes him a bad guy because I'm not going to get into it because of that whole like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't want to get in trouble, but it's just kind of like, it's like that weird thing where it's like, you're bad, but you're too good, you're too good, you're too bad. Okay. Anyway, not going to get into that. But, and then there's Michelle, who for some reason likes to pleasure herself to listening to JFK speeches. Everyone's got their own thing, I guess. Yeah, there's that. And then after they get through all the intros, then they're like at like this beach party or whatever, and then they come up with this plan to like all meet someone by prom, but they spell it backwards as morp for some reason. I'm not sure why, and just because they thought it was cool, I guess.
Oh, morp is where the girls ask the guys.
Oh, I see. I got you. Okay,
it's backwards. It's kind of like it's like their Sadie Hawkins dance or turnaround dance or whatever. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay, so they, and like I guess like the trick for this one was basically that like each girl was supposed to find a guy that they individually kind of need like for their own personalities. So it's like, for example, like they want Kayla to meet someone that's not so nice because she needs someone that's not like just gonna like dote on her, whereas Stephanie Stifler, she's kind of like promiscuous and doesn't really like believe in love, so she should find someone that's kind of nice. So it's like basically like to find someone that they don't necessarily want, but that's more of like compatible for like their growth or whatever. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it right, but like, yeah, that's what I got from their conversation was like, it's like this character actually, should be with a nice guy because like they're not growing by doing what they're doing. Whereas this person, they might need someone that's a little bit like not too nice because that's like their crutch. I might be really over-explaining this American Pie film. Like, the intricacy, the nuances of the American Pie film, but that's what I got from that. Okay, that's my weird interpretation. And what else happened? I know which weird shit happened.
Do you want to take a break really quick, and then we can get more into the plot after that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back, folks.
Hello, I'm Tom.
And I'm Brian.
Hosts of Be Hero Fights.
Home of the greatest debates of our time.
We tackle the tough topics such as
Fortnite versus Call of Duty.
McDonald's versus Burger King.
John Wick versus...
Wait, is that really fair?
Nevertheless, join us weekly on Spotify, Apple, Google, and pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts.
And hear the madness ensue.
And as always,
fight on.
Hey, folks, this is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Matthew Haas.
We just wanted to tell you about our great podcast called Super. It's called All2Real. And on that show, what do we do, Matt?
We watch biopics, and then we talk about whether or not the movie matched up with the real story or not.
So
it was a lot more exciting than that, though.
Yeah, so we analyze the real story and the real story. Get it?
Real.
Yeah, they're spelled differently, folks. You can guess which one I said which way. Anyways, so sometimes we have a guest, sometimes we don't. But we talk about great movies like Shattered Glass and The Social Network and Futile and Stupid Gesture, among others. Those are some of the ones that we've covered so far, and we're going to cover a lot more. So please subscribe on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your great, fun podcasts. And be sure to share it with your friends.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
And make sure you're not afraid to get all
Too
real. Bye-bye. And we are back. Welcome back, folks. My name is Mike.
Yeah.
This is the All2ReelToo Podcast, where we are looking at the movie American Pie, Girls Rules.
Dude, you sound like that guy that used to be like a reporter for like ABC News. What was his name? It wasn't Tom Brokaw. It was another dude.
Ted Koppel?
Yeah, that's what you sound like right now.
I wasn't even going for that, but that works. So.
I'm Ted Koppel. We're gonna do the today in Afghanistan. The Taliban took over power because it's 1986, and I'm in the prime of my career. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'm Ted Koppel, and this is Nightline. Wow, I think I got a new impersonation in my, because, you know what really impresses the ladies?
What's that?
A Ted Koppel impersonation.
Oh, gosh, totally. You'll be fighting them off, I mean, at that point.
Know. One day,
You
I'll have all these women, once COVID's done, they'll come closer. That's why they're staying away now, right?
Well, yeah, because COVID is dangerous. So you know, I know there's a lot of people who still don't believe that COVID is real, but it is pretty dangerous, and
that's the reason that I'm single.
Could be.
Yes, because all these women want to be with me, but COVID is keeping them away.
You don't need multiple women to want to be with you. You just need one. So. You don't need 10.
That is true. I just need my soulmate.
Well, it doesn't have to be your soulmate either. It could just be like a lead-in to your soulmate, if you will. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm talking about. What are we talking about?
American Pie, Girls Rules. Okay. Yeah. So, what happens next in this very very convoluted plot?
Yeah, well, I made it more convoluted than what it was, but I think I've written like a weird philosophical thesis about this film that has nothing to do with what it actually is. Anyway, so basically it becomes, which I was not a fan of this. I was worried it was going to do this because a lot of movies that do this gender swap thing, they tend to make the female characters act as though they are the male characters, and I don't really like that because it's like, it's okay, it's great to have like, female power or whatever, but like you don't have to then just we're just gonna be like these people, because then it's still like about those people in a way. It's just that the new people are acting like them. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not really gonna explain it to them, but that's kind of like where I was getting at, where I'm like oh, it's the girls that are all promiscuous and they want to just have sex, where it's the guys that are emotional, and it's like, why does it have to be like a flip? Can't you just do something original? Anyway, I'm expecting too much for it.
I mean, so because the reality is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
it's,
and I've seen a lot of stuff. Even like Legends of Tomorrow had an episode like that where Ray was leaving the show. Ray Palmer was leaving the show, and they were having like a bachelor party and a bachelorette party. And the bachelor party, it was the men, they were like just talking about their feelings and stuff at the table. But the women were going crazy, and it's like, okay, I get what you're trying to say, but it's kind of comes off weird and stale. Anyway, I don't want to get into that too much because I don't want to get in trouble. But I've noticed that kind of trope where it's just like, we're just going to have the female characters be like the men, and then the men, it's just like, it's overdone in my whatever. I'm getting too far to that because I don't want to get into it, because that's a very low point of what is actually going on in the movie. But I noticed that, and I'm like, I just don't really like that.
Well, I mean, partially you can tell that they took a script that was written for guy characters and switched them to girl characters. Yeah. I mean, they kept the personalities probably, and I'm sure that the other characters were like the guy characters were probably originally female characters, obviously, and they were a little, like quote unquote stereotypical female. And there's also the whole I don't know, it's just so you've got some of that seeping into the plot, into the characters too, I'm sure.
Yeah. So all right, so I'll speed up a little bit. So they go get like a sex toy for Annie at like a shop at the mall or whatever, and then like this woman who's like a customer, she's like kind of like walking her through like oh, this is a great time in your life when you're like finding your sexuality and stuff like that. I recommend this thing and whatever type of thing. So then she ends up buying what one of the things that the woman recommended to her. Then we find out that woman's actually the new high school principal, that because the other guy was forced into early retirement after Stephanie Stifler blackmailed him with all the bondage stuff. So it's like, that's awkward now because like I'm playing with the toy that this woman recommended to me, and now she's like in my bedroom, and she's just revealed to be the new high school principal, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the character of Ellen, played by Sara Rue, who is probably, besides Barry Bostwick and Danny Trejo, the most well-known actor in the film.
Yeah, she's been in a bunch of good stuff. And,
she was in Can't Hardly Wait, which we've covered on this podcast.
That's right, she was. Who did she play in that?
I can't remember. I just remember her being in the movie. It's sad.
Yeah, it's the one. I remember. Anyway,
yeah.
So anyway, she introduces herself to the house, and to Annie's dad, and she of course bakes a pie, and she's like, the pie is still hot, and all this kind of stuff. It's cherry. All this like innuendo stuff. And they're like, like sensually eating the pie together. And meanwhile, like her son is just like sitting there, in the middle of this, table or whatever, because she brought him, and he's like, I think I'm gonna get going, and that's how they like, the dad's like, oh, well, you must be studying for the same test that Annie's studying. Let's just go introduce you to her, which is still kind of weird. Like, even if she wasn't like pleasuring herself, it'd be kind of weird to just be like, oh, sure, just go,
just walk right into somebody's bedroom and with a closed door.
What? Like, who does that? Yeah. Anyway,
she could be in there changing her clothes.
Yeah. So that was kind of weird, and I even when I saw that, I was like, that's okay, whatever. And
but that's movie. So that's movie logic, though. So
it is. It is. So they were setting up that thing like with the principal and like her dad is like a possible fling or relationship, but more so just a sexual fling, and because they're both divorced and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. And so yeah, this guy, his name is Grant. He's like the cool guy that all the girls end up individually liking. They didn't realize it at first, because they were supposed to find different guys, and
and they all have different run-ins with him and kind of fall for him. So
for various different reasons, because he's one of these characters where his personality is like so like blank in a sense that like they each like see something that they like in him, I guess.
In a way, the actor Darren Barnet, and the way he portrayed the role, he kind of reminds me of a young James Franco in like Freaks and Geeks or something. Yeah.
I definitely got a Franco vibe.
Yeah.
Even by how he looks a little bit too, physically. So anyway, Stephanie Stifler, she hits him with a golf ball in the head to get his attention, because that's, an alpha move, I guess, is to physically harm an individual in order to have them in their disoriented state, want to thank you. And
was it a golf ball, or was it I thought it was what's that game? Lacrosse ball. Yeah,
it was lacrosse. That's what it was. Yeah. so she hits him from far away, and then she runs to his aid. Which that's what a good manipulator does. You hurt someone, and then you come to their rescue. Not a great attribute to have in life, but whatever. And so then she helps them up, and she's like, "Oh, hi." I don't remember the line, whatever. And then that was supposed to work, but it didn't work on her. Her seduction techniques didn't work on her. So then, this is where it gets weird, because like they really rushed this plot line, in my opinion, because the movie's only 95 minutes long, and there's this character named Emmett. And she used to be friends with this kid when they were little kids, but they haven't talked in like 8 years because she like said that he wet his pants once in front of school, and then it really embarrassed him. And then out of the blue, she wants.
It's kind of like speaking of Can't Hardly Wait, like the relationship between Lauren Ambrose's character and Seth Green's character in that movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. She wanted to climb the social ladder, so she humiliated him in order to, get up there. And he's, doing his own thing. He's got his own interest, and he's comfortable with himself. He's not like a little smarmy, kid. He's likes himself, who he is. And, because he's friends with Grant, she wants to basically like have Emmett like tell her all of his like weak spots, essentially, in order to get to know him and stuff like that. And she, willing to pay him like $100. Well, she was gonna pay him $20, and he's like, he's a great friend of mine. How dare you? My minimum is $100 or whatever. And so they start hanging out. And of course, how the movie's going to progress is that she's going to get closer to him while she's supposed to be learning how to seduce the other guy. Really boilerplate stuff. I could see that from a mile away. Like when she's in his bedroom. She's in his bedroom and she sees like an old photograph of the two of them when they were little kids. I'm like, yeah, there it is. There it is right there.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, the minute they started talking, I kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, even before that, too, because when he was doing the morning announcements, even before all of this, and she was, like, kind of, like, smiling, like, when he was doing the morning announcements, like she thought it was cute or something like that. So, I don't know. That was during my second viewing when I started picking up all the nuances of the American Pie film.
Well, that's why you have to watch an American Pie movie several times.
At least a minimum 3 times.
Because a good American Pie movie is like an onion. It has layers. And wait.
Onion pie. Wait, what? Gusting pie. No.
And onions give me migraines.
Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, you can draw to the conclusion of what that means all you want.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying directly that American Pie movies give me migraines. Just saying that American Pie movies are like an onion. They have layers.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Many layers. Sadly, no Eugene Levy in this film.
Yeah, it's the only one without Eugene Levy.
Really? Wow. Yeah. It's noticeable because he's like the glue, I think, that holds together all those movies.
They should have. I mean, I think they should have brought in some character from one of the other movies just to have a glue or a connection there. But because whenever you had Mr. Levinson in those movies, it made sense. Even though sometimes it never made sense why he was in the movies, but
right, exactly. But how would he just show up everywhere?
But Eugene Levy, was probably too busy doing Schitt's Creek to do this and other things too. And plus,
I'm sorry, but Schitt's Creek is going to take precedence over this.
Especially since, this was obviously filmed before that, but now he's an Emmy Award-winning actor for that show. So,
right,
yeah,
exactly. So, can you help me out here? What else? I'm kind of skipping a timeline a little bit.
Okay,
here.
So there's another character, Michelle, who also kind of had a thing for Grant, like everybody else does. She there's a character who's like the assistant or second in command to the principal named Oliver, played by Christian Valderrama, who, by the way, is the nephew of Wilmer Valderrama. But, from that 70s show. And NCIS and other things. Anyways, he's like, in love with this girl. She's in love with Kennedy. He does a Kennedy impersonation. They fall in love eventually. I'm cutting out a lot, but I'm just giving you that plot line.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
He's kind of a nerdy guy, obsessed with Kennedy. She's a nerdy girl obsessed with Kennedy. Put them together. What do you got? Two nerdy people in love with Kennedy. Anyways, that deserve to be together. And when I say Kennedy, I don't mean the MTV VJ. I mean John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No. Not that Kennedy.
No. That'd be even weirder.
Malibu's most wanted. Sorry.
So anyways, that's one of the plot points. Eventually they end up together. At one point, Annie goes to visit her. Did we talk about this yet? Visit her boyfriend in college.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she goes to visit her boyfriend in college to try to, sleep with him and surprise him. And she catches him in his dorm room getting a blowjob from some random girl.
Yeah.
And so that ends that. Grant finds out that he's basically part of a bet. And so you have the she's all that moment where I was a fucking bet, anyways. And then
right.
So it wasn't really a bet, it was a whatever. But that's basically what it is. It's where your stupid plan, you fall in love with the person you put into the situation, and then
yeah, you
got to have your romantic comedy barrier there so they can't get together. So Annie, Grant really likes Annie. They start getting closer and getting to know each other. Stephanie basically, like you said, falls for that other dude. For Emmett, which I was happy to see that name being used in a movie because my late grandfather's name was Emmett. And anytime I see that name used, I get happy about it. So, but anyways, so eventually what happens is there's the Morp dance, the backwards prom, where everybody's supposed to dress up in their pajamas.
Yeah.
For some reason. And all the girls go together. And then the, Stephanie and Michelle and Kayla basically are there with their guys. Basically, Kayla ends up getting back together with her dude after making him jealous and all this other shit.
Yeah.
So then they all end up at the dance. The girls and the guys put together a plan to get Grant to come there and realize that, he's meant to be with Annie. And then everybody has sex.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there's Annie and Grant have sex in this tent that they set up on the middle of the lacrosse or football field or whatever it is,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Michelle and Oliver have sex after he does his impersonation of Kennedy, which isn't quite as good as my Ted Koppel, by the way. But
if he had Ted Koppel, he would have been sleeping with like 6 different women.
I know.
Or girls.
That's what I'm telling you. Yeah.
Chad Koppel, that should be his nickname.
Yeah. So anyways, then everybody lives happily ever after, and they dance during the credits.
Yep. There it is. That's American Pie. Girls rules.
Yep. Do you want to take another quick break here, Matt, and then we'll come back and I can read some reviews of the movie.
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Do you have dreams that you want to achieve but are scared to do so due to self-doubt, fear, and other people's criticism? I have just what you need. You need a dose of the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, where I interview guests that will motivate and inspire you to stop at nothing to achieve your dreams. And always remember, if you believe, you can achieve.
Hi, folks. This is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Manager Matthew Haas.
You got promoted?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay, anyways, folks, do you like the show Superstore?
Well,
I don't know. I asked the folks and nobody's answering me.
because they're not here.
Oh,
but we love
damn
it.
Yeah, we love it, though. Okay, folks, if you like it as much as we do, you're really going to like the Super Story podcast, which is a podcast where Matthew and I go episode by episode and give our little opinions and thoughts on it. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Just depends on how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And, so if you like this podcast and like our little crazy banter,
Then you should definitely check this out. Or I might get sad. And when I get sad, it gets pretty sad.
yeah,
So
I can't deal with him when he's sad.
no one can really. So
Yeah. So check out Super Story Podcast right here where you get this podcast, Super Story Podcast. And we are back. How are you, folks? My name is Michael E. Cullen II. And we are talking about American Pie Girls Rules. So anyways, do you want me to read a couple of reviews here, user reviews from the Internet Movie Database?
Yes, I would like that.
Okay, here's a 1-star review from Rebecca's Frida. I don't know. Anyways, this was on October 7th of 2020. 1 out of 10 stars. How can the director have the courage to screw up the franchise name? A silly film of idiots in love. Cade the Real Stifler. This woman is nothing at all. I don't know what that means. So, okay, another one. This is from Christos Rokos on October 6th of 2020. The perfect way to destroy the American Pie saga is this movie. Do yourself a favor, never watch it. I will try really hard to forget that I watch it. I think he meant that I watched it, but he just says I watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. He or she, whatever. I'm thinking Christos is a boy. Okay. Another 1 out of 10 star here is Pathetic by Haddock 56680. Haddock. Okay. I don't know how to say that. Okay. Anyways, it says Pathetic. It was incredibly bad. It has nothing to do with the previous successful American Pie movies. Okay, here we go. Another 1 out of 10. The one that effectively killed the franchise, from Smashing Steve. This female-centered American Pie flick is sadly not very funny, completely sanitized film with lazy writing and directing. The worst offense is a very forced feminist message. But before before the pitchforks and fires come out, I am all for equal rights. But crudely forcing the message in every bit of a once popular entertainment property doesn't work. Well, hello, Ghostbusters, Terminator Dark Fate, and Charlie's Angels. this latest gasp of American Pie will go down in history as the one that effectively killed the once hit comedy franchise.
Oh boy, I kind of love the anti-feminist rants like about American Pie. Like they're gonna ruin our sacred American Pie.
But he's not anti-feminist because
of course not.
Because in there he said something like, what did he say? He said, "Don't get me wrong, I'm all for, you know."
Because when you say something like, you know, before the pitchforks come out, that definitely means that you're not being sarcastic or anything like that. And like I said earlier, I do think that sometimes these things can feel a little forced. I do think that's a legitimate critique without necessarily being labeled a bad person for having that critique.
Yeah, but my issue with it is when he references the Ghostbusters, which I thought was a really good movie, actually.
Right.
But
a good movie.
I mean, I had some issues with it. I mean, my issues had nothing to do with the quote unquote feminist, you know, invasion of a property or whatever.
Right, yeah. God.
I still have yet to see Dark Fate or the new Charlie's Angels, so I can't comment on those, so I don't know. But here's a really well put all caps review here from SS Monray. 1 out of 10. It's definitely not American Pie. Ellipses. WTF. Ellipses. You ruined it. Ellipses. And then like 8 angry emojis.
Wow. That's opinions here.
Some of the best writing and reviewing I've seen since, you know, like Pauline Kael used to review movies back in the 40s or whatever. So okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, basically, I'm looking for a good review of the movie.
Oh, you're not going to find one because they probably, what's the word where they put a bunch of negative reviews on purpose so that, what's it called? There's a name for it.
Like review bombing and stuff? Yeah,
they probably did a bunch of that, so.
But, I mean, the main thing here is, like, you know, I don't look to, that's usually something you see on, like, Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that.
Okay.
Not on, IMDb. Like, the highest rating I've seen is, like, a 5 out of 10. So, and that one itself says that it's a film for a very narrow audience. Anyways, anything else, Matt, before we, wrap things up here on the review of American Pie Girls Rules, which you can now see on Netflix currently as we record this.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I wish I didn't forget a lot of stuff in the movie because I watched it 3 times, you know? And other movies I've watched once, I can remember everything. Maybe I've just got a lot going on in my mind or something that...
Well, it's also it's a very predictable script and it's kind of forgettable. You know, it's like...
Yeah, true.
It's like how they the stereotype about, like, you know, eating like Chinese food that you're hungry an hour later.
Right.
When you watch this movie, it might satisfy you for a minute or two while you're watching it, but then an hour or so later you want to watch a different movie.
Yeah. Then you just forget it and just forget that you ever watched it. And
yeah.
Because the feminists are stealing away all of our great movie franchises.
But you know what the good thing is, Matt? If you've forgotten what happened in the movie, you can watch it 3 times like you did and enjoy it just as well each time.
Yeah, that's true.
Or not enjoy
Maybe
it
that's
just
part
as
of the
well.
plan is just to get your people watching it. Yeah, or not enjoy it.
I don't know.
Wow.
Anyways,
I don't know.
I was just going to say, anyways, if you guys liked this episode or any of our episodes, please check out our Patreon. You know, we're going to start having a lot of cool stuff on there. You can maybe get some episodes early and things of that nature. There's probably some ads on here for some other podcasts too, some people that reached out to me to advertise on here. And check out their shows too, you know. they're probably good.
Yeah.
No, they are. Anyways, I wouldn't attach them if they weren't. And also check out our TeePublic and buy some stuff. And during this time where we got COVID going on and everything, I'll have some stuff in the show notes again as usual lately, where you can help out, some people that need help during these tough times that we're going through in this country and in the world.
Yeah.
And also check out Matt's music and stuff. Because
if you want to.
Matt's a kick-ass music guy.
Kick-ass music guy. I like that. That's a good. That's a good tagline.
He has that tattooed right on his chest. It says "kick-ass music guy."
Yeah,
and
no, I got Ted Koppel tattooed across my chest.
You do?
So yeah.
Well, I was hoping that it was like on your back, like Roger Stone's Richard Nixon tattoo.
No, that's Tom Brokaw's on my back. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's cool. Of course, you got to have him there. I've got I named both of my arms. My one's named Peter and the other's named Jennings. And what the hell is wrong with us? Anyways,
if anyone who's like under the age of like 30
is not going to get any of these references.
These were old news reporters from like when we were kids. So they were really popular at the time. You don't understand. Okay.
The sad thing is right now besides like Lester Holt, I don't think I can name anybody that hosts like the news. So it's like
back then the evening news was a big deal. 7 o'clock. Yeah, that's usually when people are eating dinner.
And this was before Fox and MSNBC and stuff. So
so this was like it wasn't 24-hour. Well, CNN did start around that time, but this is before 24-hour news was like a normal thing. So it was like 7 o'clock world, because it was world news and national news. It wasn't just what's going on in your city. It was the national news and the world news. So. It was a big deal. This was like your gateway into like the outside world a little bit. And Ted Koppel or Peter Jennings and Tom Brokaw was your guy, your St. Peter.
Well, Ted Koppel was the Nightline guy, and then
okay,
and then you had Peter Jennings, Tom Brokaw, and Dan Rather were our guys. Before Dan Rather, there was Walter Cronkite when I was a kid. It was like
And notice that all these guys.
I'm Walter Cronkite, and that's the way it is. Okay, that's a really bad Walter.
You will
Cronkite.
notice that all these guys are guys, and white.
Yeah, I was listening. So, and these guys, like Walter Cronkite. I mean, I don't know about these other guys, but Walter Cronkite had the great, sign off where he would say, "And that's the way it is."
Yeah,
and it's like. I heard an awesome thing. I don't even remember what podcast it was, but the guy signed off and he says, and just remember, every great radio guy has a good sign off. That was his sign off. Something of that nature. I was just like, that's funny.
That's great.
Yeah. So anyways, anything else, Matt, before we wrap things up here?
No, just Koppel your way out of life, man. Just be like Ted Koppel and just don't give a fuck. It's not at all his slogan.
Be like Ted Koppel and don't give a fuck. Remember that, folks. Remember that.
Remember that.
No truer words have ever been said. And another thing that I'm sure is needed to be heard: wear a fucking mask. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All2ReelToo Podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.